largest racial groups in America were Mexican immigrants. The picture you are seeing today is the original Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, ended the Mexican-American War in 1848. When the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed, about 75,000 Spanish-speaking people lived in the Southwest. After the new border was established in Mexico, the citizens started to visit their relatives because of the new border. As a proportion of North American settlers in these lands multiplied, however, they began to request greater local autonomy, feared the possibility that Mexico might outlaw slavery, and resented the imposition of taxes from the government in Mexico City. Relations between the United States and Mexico remained strained at best during the late 1830s and early 1840s. The Lone Star Republic was amended to the Union as the state of Texas in 1845, after the frequency of border skirmishes between the two countries increased. U.S. forces responded to these clashes by moving into New Mexico and California in 1846, as well as the southward into Mexico. The capture of Mexico City was the final significant armed conflict. On to the next topic.
A mass migration of German immigrants began in the mid-1830s and continued in the 1880s, where nearly 1.5 million Germans immigrated to America. Among them were Anabaptists, who were often persecuted for the belief in adult baptism. Nearly all Italian immigrants who arrived in America in the late 1800s came from southern Italy and passed through the new immigration facilities at Ellis Island. Many immigrants were taken advantage of and paid less than others for work in the 1800s. They had to deal with discrimination and some suffered physical and verbal abuse for being different.
Our next topic of interest is Irish immigrants. Irish faced discrimination because of their beliefs in Catholicism. In 1844, violent rioting broke out between nativists and the Irish in Philadelphia. Several people were killed, and nativist mobs burned Irish homes, stores, schools, and even churches. The army was called in to stop the riot. Natives called the immigrants a swarm of aliens. Nativists and know-nothings opposed further immigration of cheap working foreigners. Now the next racial group we will be discussing is the Native Americans. The Europeans often took land from Native Americans by force, and by the late 17th century, they have established an economy strongly based in African American slavery. There have been many events that have occurred towards Native Americans that were done by settlers, but one of the worst tragic events was the Trail of Tears that happened in the 1830s. This was when the colonists forced relocated 5 civilized tribes in Georgia to Oklahoma. Many people died of starvation, hypothermia, and other causes.
Now on to our next topic, African Americans. In 1957, the Dred Scott versus Stanford case of the U.S. Supreme Court placed the authority of the Constitution behind decisions made by states regarding the treatment of African Americans. According to the Dred Scott decision, African Americans, even if free, were not intended to be included under the word citizen, as defined in the Declaration of Independence, and could therefore claim none of the rights and privileges provided for that in the document. All southern states passed slave codes intended to control slaves and prevent any expression of opposition.
In the 19th century, African Americans were not treated as people. The white men and women treated them as property rather than people. Throughout this time, those men and women fought for their own independent freedom. However, none of these freedoms happened until the late 1800s. The black men and women of this time never got the opportunities to earn money.
What to do? Like,
What?
this is so hard.
What you may not know about the Civil War, I don't like this. I don't like this. I hate all of you. I hate both of you.
Just keep going.
Literally, I hate both of you.
Keep going.
Stop laughing.
I'm not laughing.
Don't say that.
No,
That's weird.
In 18
Don't say that. Don't say that. Stop.
I'm not playing with you, both men and women.
Oh, cut it out.
Turn it off. You're such a
You're so cute.
Actually, I would like to see that picture.